Okay. All right, this is group 2. This is the hearing or the deafness article response. I'm Alex Gruber. I'm the facilitator. There's Aaron is the pro, Lauren is con, and Trisha is neutral on the topic. So I'm just going to start it off with a quick question. So the article focuses on the effort of the cochlear implant in the deaf community. Do you guys feel that the cochlear implant is a viable solution for a person who is deaf? And then Aaron, we're going to start it with you with the pro side.
Okay. I do believe that it's a viable solution. I think that cochlear implants are beneficial to those who decide to get the device. Positive impact that obviously recipients get is the ability to hear more than if they didn't have the device, which in turn can make it easier to communicate with others and possibly easier to function in our mainstream society. 90% of deaf children are born to hearing parents, so both parents and children might struggle to communicate, excuse me, and a cochlear implant could improve this communication. So I think that the benefits outweigh the cons.
All right, great. Lauren?
Okay, so a couple points for the con side. So no, it isn't a viable solution because it puts too much emphasis on learning to speak and kind of conform to hearing people's type of communication. And it, in a lot of cases, is not completely necessary. And another point is that people are not educated enough on how deaf people can still lead fulfilling lives without the cochlear implants and without being able to hear. The whole world of people who are deaf and, you know, they live that way and they have fulfilling, happy lives. And I think that parents of children and just people in general who can hear don't realize how fulfilling their lives can still be.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. So, Trisha, you're neutral on the topic. Would you like to enlighten us?
Sure. I think it just really depends on the individual themselves or their family for that matter. Some are for it, some are against it. Just as the opening states in the article, some people want to, you know, take advantage of the cochlear implants, you know, the most advanced hearing technology. But there are others that don't want to be fixed. And I think we need to respect both opinions. Individuals themselves have the right to make that decision for themselves, whether it be for or against the implants. So therefore, I feel it may be to certain individuals who are deaf may want it, but it's not for all.
Okay, thanks. One part of the article that I found interesting was I'd never really heard of the Alexander Graham Bell Association, and it was brought up a lot in this article. Positive things, I guess, and some negative things, but I did want to read their mission statement. So the Alexander Graham Bell Association for the Deaf and Hard of Hearings, or the AGB, their stated mission is to help families, healthcare providers, and education professionals understand childhood hearing loss and the importance of early diagnosis and intervention. So that's their mission statement. However, some feel that the AGB simply promotes and markets companies who sell cochlear implant technology. I can kind of see both sides, but I want to know which do you agree with and why? We'll just do the same order again. Aaron, we'll start with you on the pro side.
I keep bringing it back to myself and what I would do if I had a child, so with a disability. So if my child had a disability, I'm going to want to do anything I can to assist them to function better in society and make it easier for them. So if I had a child with a communication disorder, I may look into purchasing a device that helps them, like a text-to-speech, any kind of augmentative communication device. But this obviously is going to financially benefit companies that produce these products. But as a parent, I don't care. I would go to a healthcare professional or people that this is their expertise, a special ed advocate, anybody that might be able to recommend one product over another, just because I want my child to be successful and I'm going to trust their opinion because they're more knowledgeable. At the end of the day, the AGB is recommending products to parents, these parents with children with hearing disabilities. But it's still in the parents' hands. It's their decision. They're not saying that this implant is the be-all, end-all. They're just enlightening them with their options. So I don't believe that they're marketing and they're making money just off of the creation of these implants. I think they're just trying to educate parents or even just adults with hearing disabilities of what their options might be.
Okay, great. Lauren?
So I agree that they use the deaf community and especially parents of deaf children to market cochlear implants and kind of make them more popular. They can kind of see them as a way to make money. And going back to the point I made a little bit earlier, parents who aren't deaf may not understand how their child could have a great life without the implants. I think that just being a person who can hear, you just don't know there's a huge deaf community, and you don't know exactly how fulfilling and how happy their lives can be without without the cochlear implants and without the technology there is. So without being able to understand that, I think that people can kind of think that we need to use every single type of technology to enhance their lives, but in fact, when they become an adult, they may realize that they didn't need that to have a good life.
Okay. Tricia?
I feel that the AGB helps families, healthcare providers, and educational professionals to increase their awareness of childhood hearing loss and the importance of an early diagnosis. But it also advocates and supports the development for spoken language. But it also advocates for hearing impaired individuals that may want cochlear implants, not necessarily to promote and market the companies. I think it really truly depends on who you ask. Everyone has different opinions, just as someone had mentioned in the article, they didn't have a very good rep, I guess, in the past, many years prior. So things change over time, as does everything. And if they don't encourage the resources and the providers for those who may be interested, I don't feel as though they would be considered an association. They don't need to give and provide. They do need to give and provide on both sides, whether for or not. But they need to both give them both sides an equal opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. Like I see both sides of it. But I did want to move on to another question that I have for you guys. So a big takeaway after I read the article was it seems that it was almost suggesting that most or all of deaf people would be opposed to cochlear implants. I mean, basically, what are your thoughts on it? What's your position on this suggestion? And do you necessarily believe it to be true? So, Erin, I'll start with you.
I don't think the statement is accurate. I read in several articles that over 46,000 adults and over 30,000 children receive cochlear implants every year, and this statistic seems to be growing exponentially. So as long as there's a community of deaf people willing to have this operation, they should continue offering the procedure. I don't believe that every, if not majority, is against it.
Okay, great. Lauren?
I don't think that most or all deaf people would be against cochlear implants because personally, several adults who have them and like them, and it doesn't sound like they are upset that they got them when they were younger. I don't think that most would be against it, but I do see how the deaf community or a lot of people in the deaf community could see them as something that they just don't need to have a good life. Almost like it's kind of, to me, like the way I process it is kind of like it might be a little bit offensive to tell them you need this to be part of society. That's the way that I kind of see it. So I can definitely understand why some of them have that feeling towards it.
Okay, great. And then Tricia, if you want to wrap it up.
Sure. I really think that it could be the best of both worlds using American Sign Language and having an implant. Just as one of the students does that I serve, he has an implant but is very fluent in ASL and actually has an interpreter with him in school. Again, it just really depends on the student themselves or their family. Not everyone will feel the same way about cochlear implants or even ASL, and that is their right and their decision. If they don't want an implant, they should be forced to. But for those who may decide to go that direction, there needs to be resources and an increased knowledge about them and providers to go to if that's ultimately what they decide.
All right, great. Well, thanks again, guys, for meeting. That actually wraps it up. It was good to hear all your opinions, and until next time.
All right, thank you.